All right, we got an '06 Ram we're working on today. This is going to be pretty universal for a lot of vehicles. We've got the seat won't move. It's stuck all the way back. They can't really drive the vehicle very easily, not tall enough. So we go to underneath the seat here. All these electric seats are going to have a fairly similar setup. So we got our main wiring harness. Crawls over here. The one going up is to the seat belt safety. And then a wiring harness comes over and connects to these two motors underneath. This one I'm pretty sure is the tilt towards the more driver's side. It's got a little lever connected to it, which is going to tilt the seat up and down. So I'm fairly certain the one on my left towards the inside of the vehicle. Let's see if we can get a good look at that motor. Right there, it's got that blue stripe. That's the one we want to test for power. We can go about this plenty of different ways. So we don't know if the motor's bad. It seems like it'd be pretty easy just to figure out whether or not this is getting power when we hit the switch. So we want to test for power and ground, right? So this has a tricky little clip on it because we're working in tight quarters to get this harness off. We can also check for, blown fuses, stuff like that right away. I'm gonna go right to the test on this motor. See if I can do this with one hand. Yep, we got the clip off here. Here we go. Now we're gonna grab either our multimeter or our test light to see if it's getting power. Here we go. Here we go. It's just a simple two-prong. Should have a ground and a power type situation. We've got one with a red stripe and one that's solid. So that one with the reddish, pinkish, orangish stripe is probably going to be our power. So let's get set up. We'll grab our test light, find us a good ground somewhere, just to see if we're getting power. Maybe we can go on one of these nuts on the door. I think I left my test light over here. It's just a simple little test light. Clip it onto a ground. Sharp end goes into the power. If it lights up, that means we have power. I'm not sure I could do this with one hand holding the camera. We do want to verify that we have a good ground. I'll clip it right there. We'll pop the hood. Send that little guy over the fender. And just touch it to the positive on our battery. Just to verify we have a good ground there. Batteries are on the driver's side of these. And it lights up. All right, that's a good ground there on that door. We'll send that back around. I think we got to have the key in the ignition on this one. Turn that blower motor off. Find our wiring harness. The one that we think is the positive is on my left. There we go, we're connected. And I'm gonna hit this switch. Whoa! About to drop my camera here. And yeah, no matter which way I go, it's not lighting up. So we're not getting power. Let's test the other one, just in case we're wrong about which one's power and which one's is ground. Flip the switch every which way, no power. All right, looks like we're not getting no power. We can test for power right here at this harness. With the key on, one of these should be getting always power. There's some power right there. All right, so it looks like the tilt motor, both of them are not working. So let's do some further diagnosis. I'll tell you what's going on. All right, so we have tested our power seat fuse. It's a 40 amp under the hood. Looking good, getting power. It looks like all the wires that are supposed to get power are getting power there. I'm thinking we might be at a bad switch right here. So let's test this switch out. Now, you can kind of pull the plastic back and look down there, but we don't got much room. So we're gonna take a Phillips head screwdriver, take out that guy and another guy underneath here, and pop the cap of the switch out. It looks like there's a bunch of crud and nastiness in there. And get that switch tested. All right, we've got this screw out the front. This one out the back just keeps spinning. That's not cool. But we can actually pull this forward and see our switch and our wiring now. If you look at those two plastic clips right there that are hugging that bar, that's how this trim panel stays secure. So we gotta pop this panel up a little bit. I'm gonna need 2 hands for that. You can get your fingers underneath and feel them. So let's just get enough room so that we can get this switch out. All right, we got our switch out of there. You're gonna wanna go underneath the seat and give yourself some more wiggle room with the wiring harness. Pull it out of its little clip. And that way you don't start bending this. There's 4 little tabs on the switch itself. Right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. And they clip into right here. You see those little slots? I actually broke one there. I put a flathead screwdriver, kind of just pulled it out a little bit. Put a flathead screwdriver in there to kind of disconnect those tabs. Pop it out. And then the switch comes backwards and slide it out. Now we can take this wiring harness off. It's got that press down on that tab there, and we'll test for power there. Let's get this off. Ooh, it does not want to come out. I'll use a screwdriver to help me. Yeah, this harness is jammed up pretty good. Grab a little hook. Or we might be able to use this tester right here just to kind of get the... There we go. Now, we've got this sucker off. So we weren't getting power to our motor, right? Figuring it's probably the switch. Doesn't look like we're getting power anywhere there, unless we messed up our ground. Nope, we still have ground. It lights up. So this is our switch here. We're not getting any power to any of these prongs. Now, if we were getting power to the correct one, I don't know which one's the correct one off the top of my head. I was just seeing if we had any power going here. If we had any power, then maybe we could eliminate the switch. It's not the case. Probably looking at a wiring issue. And this, so we got to figure out where this gets its power from. I'll be back. All right, we've got it all pretty much figured out here. Now, we've traced the wire, the main power wire, which is this red one with a dark red stripe. We've traced it back through the harness to this one right here, where it's like peach with a red stripe. If you look on the other side, it's red with a red stripe going to this harness. And that goes under the carpet. It does not go underneath the vehicle on this one at all. It's in the carpet. So it's gonna run up the carpet somewhere. I don't have electrical diagram on this one. I'm sure with enough internet digging I could find it. I mean, it's up underneath there somewhere. And it goes all the way to that 40 amp fuse for the power seats. So somewhere between that fuse and this wire, where we got this little probe in there, there's a break in the wire somewhere. So you could try to find it yourself, or you could just run a power wire, cut this guy off and run a power wire. So we got a pretty simple test set up here. It's just a battery charger, 12 volt, connected to a ground. And then we put a little piece of stainless steel lashing wire connector right into that connector so we have power. Plug our switch back in. Now our seat works. See, we can move forward and backwards. So motor's good, switch is good, all that good stuff. The problem is we're not getting power here for some reason. So somewhere there's a break in the wire between the two. What we're gonna do is just run a new power wire to that. We're gonna cut it off before the connector. You know, maybe take this wiring harness back a little bit, cut it, and so we got a little more room to play with. We'll run a new wire under the carpet or something, but maybe before we cut it, we figure out where we're gonna run the new wire, pull this trim up, this carpet, maybe we'll find the break in the wire. I'm not sure where this wire runs once it goes under the carpet, because it splits in two directions, that way and this way. And the rest of that wiring probably runs up underneath it here. I don't have an electrical diagram for it. I don't want to mess with it. We're just going to get some power from somewhere and get her fixed up. But that's how you diagnose it. How you want to fix it is how you want to fix it. We're just missing power from right there. So what we should do is go to the fuse box, grab us the same gauge wire, and figure out where that 40 amp is. Flip our box over, connect to that 40 amp, and run it through the firewall, preferably where other wiring is going. Run that wire through the firewall, and once we're under the dash, we'll go under the carpet, under the trim, and right up through that hole, and then that'll be our new power wire for the seat. So run through this series of tests, test your motor, see if you're getting power there. If you're not getting power there, see if you're getting power at your switch, or if you could see the block and you know which wire goes to the seats, which I should have been able to do earlier on. Just kind of like peel this back a little bit and see which one's the power wire, which was this one, and then look for the same color on this block, see if we're getting power. If we're getting power there, then we know it's either the switch or the motor that's bad. Seeing how there's two motors, it'd be unlikely that both of them would be out at the same time. They just bought this vehicle, so they had no idea if one went out and the other went out, so I had nowhere to start for reference. It's just, it didn't work. So that's it basically explained. Is the switch was still good, the motor was still good. Could have tested the motor with a jumper wire right from the get-go if we wanted, and just lock the seat in whatever position we want. So you can end up tearing up your whole carpet or getting an electrical diagram and figuring out where that wire runs, or you could just go straight from that fuse box underneath that 40 amp for the seats and run you a new wire, or try to tie off of something that's safe under the dash and put an inline fuse in. Whichever route you want to go, of course you should do it professionally. Get yourself a wiring diagram, figure out where that wire goes, and check it for breaks everywhere, every connector that it goes to. All right, so I'm going to run a new power wire, and their seats will work. Thanks for watching.